Welcome back to Kleppers Corner, where history isn't just dates and dusty textbooks. It's the world's longest-running soap opera. Today's episode, August 21st. Let me tell you, this date is stacked. Revolutions, assassinations, nuclear rockets, art heists, and oh yeah, a tornado that accidentally invented one of the world's greatest hospitals. It's basically like a history buffet where the chef said, screw it, throw it all in. So buckle up, because August 21st is proof that humanity can't go more than 24 hours without starting a revolution, overthrowing a dictator, or stealing a painting. Segment 1, the cry for freedom, Haiti and Virginia. Let's kick things off with a little rebellion, because apparently August 21st is buy one slave revolt, get one free day. In 1791, in Haiti, back then the French colony of Saint-Domingue, enslaved people gathered at a voodoo ceremony at Bois Caiman. Now, most of us go to bonfires to roast marshmallows or tell ghost stories. These folks sacrificed a pig, drank its blood, and swore to fight for their freedom, which, in terms of motivational rituals, makes my high school pep rally look like amateur hour. Led by Dadi Boukman and Sezio Fataman, they launched what would become the Haitian Revolution, the only successful slave revolt in history that created an independent nation. Haiti became free, France lost its most profitable colony, and Napoleon had to go sulk in Europe with nothing but baguettes and a bruised ego. Fast forward exactly 40 years, 1831, Virginia. Nat Turner, a preacher who believed God had chosen him to lead his people, launched the largest slave rebellion in U.S. history. He and his followers killed about 55 white people before the rebellion was brutally crushed. Turner was executed, and the South responded by tightening slave codes, banning education for black people, and doubling down on oppression. Because you know, nothing says we learned our lesson like more cruelty. Two revolts, same date, completely different outcomes. Haiti became a free republic. Virginia became more paranoid than your uncle after 2 whiskeys and a Facebook scroll. And the irony? Both revolts were powered by spiritual belief. In Haiti, voodoo united the oppressed. In Virginia, Turner's Christianity fueled his vision. So while religion can start wars, it can also start revolutions. And sometimes it starts both at once. Segment 2, people versus power, Philippines and the Soviet Union. Now, if you thought August 21 only handled slavery and colonialism, surprise, it also has a side gig toppling dictators. In 1983, Philippine opposition leader Benigno Nonoy Aquino Jr. came back from exile to confront Ferdinand Marcos. Unfortunately, the Marcos Welcoming Committee greeted him with a bullet at the Manila airport. Assassination wasn't the outcome Aquino hoped for, but it did something incredible. It turned him into a martyr. Suddenly, Filipinos from every class, the Catholic Church, and even business elites said, we're done. His widow, Corazon Aquino, eventually became president after the People Power Revolution kicked Marcos out. Today, that airport is literally named after Nonoy, which is one way to make sure people remember you, though maybe a statue would have been less terminal. Then in 1991, over in the Soviet Union, hardliners tried to oust Gorbachev because they hated his reforms. Enter Boris Yeltsin. He climbed onto a take outside the Russian parliament and told everyone to resist. It was a bold move. Personally, the only thing I've ever climbed on in protest was a bar stool to yell about bad Wi-Fi. But Yeltsin's stunt worked. The coup collapsed, the Soviet Union unraveled, and suddenly the Cold War was out of stock. So here's the contrast. Aquino was killed and became a symbol of resistance through absence. Yeltsin survived and became a symbol by showing up in the flesh. Both prove that authoritarian regimes can crumble when faced with either a ghost or a guy on a take. Which means dictators should fear 2 things: assassinations and CrossFit dads who can climb heavy machinery. Segment 3, the architecture of nations, Lincoln versus Douglas. Hawaii joins the Union and Dumbarton Oaks. August 21st also loves bureaucracy, debates, borders, and global blueprints. Take 1858. Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas squared off in their first Senate debate. Lincoln framed slavery as a moral wrong. Douglas championed popular sovereignty, which is basically letting each new territory decide if enslaving people is cool. Spoiler, it wasn't cool. Douglas won the Senate seat, but Lincoln's speeches catapulted him toward the presidency. So technically, Lincoln lost the battle, but won the presidency, proving once again that debating in Illinois can change history, which is why I don't trust high school debate teams. Then in 1959, Dwight Eisenhower signed Hawaii into the Union as the 50th state. Over 90% of Hawaiians voted yes, but for many Native Hawaiians, it wasn't so much a celebration as the final nail in the coffin of sovereignty. America got paradise beaches, Hawaiians got overpriced housing and Elvis movies. And in 1944, world leaders gathered at Dumbarton Oaks in Washington, D.C. to create what became the United Nations. They designed a system with a General Assembly for everyone and a Security Council where 5 big powers basically get veto privileges. So global cooperation, but only if the cool kids agree. It's like high school student government, but with nukes. Let's talk nature, tragedy, and technology. In 1883, a tornado hit Rochester, Minnesota. Out of the chaos, Dr. Mayo teamed up with Catholic nuns to build a hospital. That hospital grew into the Mayo Clinic, one of the world's best medical institutions. Proof that sometimes great things come from disaster. Though I don't recommend relying on a tornado for your startup pitch. Then in 1986, Cameroon's Lake Nyos erupted. Not lava, but carbon dioxide. A massive cloud of gas suffocated 1,800 people and thousands of animals. Imagine dying because the lake burped. It sounds ridiculous, but it forced scientists to figure out how to de-gas lakes, which is also what I call opening a LaCroix after it's been in my car for a week. And in 1957, the Soviets tested the first intercontinental ballistic missile. It could deliver a nuclear warhead anywhere on Earth. Terrified. But 2 months later, the same rocket launched Sputnik into space. So, congratulations, humanity. Our quest for mutually assured destruction accidentally gave us GPS, weather satellites, and the ability to watch cat videos at 35,000 feet. Finally, let's hit culture. On this day in 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen by Vincenzo Peruggia, who literally hid in a closet overnight and walked out with it under his coat. People flocked to the Louvre to see the empty wall, which is like paying to see an empty plate at Olive Garden. 2 years later, the painting was recovered, but by then the theft had turned it from famous Renaissance artwork into the cultural icon. Basically, the Mona Lisa's fame is less about Leonardo and more about a guy with sticky fingers and a coat with big pockets. August 21st also gave us Count Basie, Wilt Chamberlain, and Usain Bolt, proof that sometimes history doesn't need wars to make legends. And it took Leon Trotsky, assassinated with an ice pick in Mexico, and astrophysicist Subraman Chandrasekhar, who gave us the math behind black holes. Quite the range: jazz, basketball, sprinting, revolutions, and collapsing stars. It's basically the world's strangest dinner party guest list. In conclusion, so what have we learned, folks? August 21st is like the historical equivalent of an all-you-can-eat buffet. Slave revolts, assassinations, Cold War rockets, tornado hospitals, missing paintings, and the fastest man alive. It's the day that reminds us history isn't a straight line. It's a roller coaster where the ride operator is drunk, the tracks are on fire, and somehow Count Basie is providing the soundtrack. And that, my friends, is your Kleppers Corner, Today in History.